Hi everyone. Firstly, thanks a lot very much for coming along for yet another financial modeling in Excel meetup. It's great to see so many people here. I'm sure one of the reasons is because we have a guest speaker who's going to be talking to us about Power Desktop BI. So it's a tool that goes with Excel rather than built into it. But Tristan's going to be telling us all about the capabilities of the tool. So I'm sure he's not going to talk too long because I know everyone wants to get home to see Game of Thrones. That's way how long you've been talk for as long as you want. But, anyway, I'll hand you over to Tristan.
Okay, so I'm really happy to be in front of you tonight. We're going to talk about data and more especially about Power BI desktop. So I think, nowadays everyone talks about big data. Many people, companies are aware of the amazing possibilities offered by data and in terms of visualization, decision making. And the goal of my presentation today is first to demystify data analytics, and second to make us aware as Microsoft users we can be part of this exciting adventure of data analytics. And yes, so that's the main purpose of this quick demo tonight. So the tool I'm going to present to you is called Microsoft Power BI Desktop. So it's a business intelligence tool, which basically allows you to extract data from many different sources, and then to visualize and analyze it very simply and very quickly. So I'm going to do a quick demo based on real data. I'm going to import quite a famous macroeconomic data, which is the GDP per capita. And then we're going to try to visualize it through different scales and to analyze it. So let's start. Now you should see the screen. Oh, I think it's because it's it has gone.
Try the remote. It looks like it's off.
Yeah. Is it this one or the other one?
It's a spy one.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, so you can see the screen now. It's good news. Well, so this is Microsoft Power BI Desktop. As you can see, it's separate from Excel. Maybe you have heard about BI add-ins, which are part of Excel, such as Power Map, Power Query, Power View, or Power Pivot, which are integrated to Excel. I'm not going to present you this tonight. What I'm going to present you instead is Microsoft Power BI Desktop, which is a separate application with its proper yellow icon that you can see here. You can download this application for free if you go to this website, powerbi.microsoft.com. So as you can see, you can get started for free. You basically just have to click this button. It will run the download, and you can set up in 5 minutes your tool. So I'm not gonna do it now because obviously I have it on my computer. So just a quick overview of the tool. So as you can see, it's not that different from Excel. For example, you have tabs. Here you have fields that we're gonna use for the visualization. It's a little bit like pivot tables. I guess many people here are at ease with pivot tables, and usually we use fields. So this is quite the same. Here we have a series of graphs and visualizations that we're gonna use in a sec. The main thing is around here. So I have this button which is called Get Data. So as I told you in the introduction, the main thing of this tool is that you can extract data from many different sources, and you can see here all the data from which you can. Sorry. So you basically have access to more than 50 different databases. So for example, as you can see, you have SQL, Azure, Excel, CSV files, but also web, Facebook, Google Analytics, Salesforce, and so on. So this tool allows you to connect, to go and pick the data from these sources. For this demo, I'm gonna show you two different sources, which are web and Excel. So if we start now, as I told you, we're gonna visualize the GDP per capita. So let's start. I'm gonna grab the data from the web. So GDP per capita. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to Wikipedia. And I have these different tables, which come from different sources: the IMF, the World Bank, the CIA, and you have the list of countries and their GDP per capita. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna use this web page as a data source. So I'm gonna copy the URL here. Just copy. I go to Power BI desktop. I go to my get data. I choose the web source. Here I'm gonna paste the URL. And now Power BI is creating the link between the tool and the web page. It detects that there are hierarchies in the page. So I'm gonna focus on the list of countries, because obviously I'm not gonna import all the data which are in Wikipedia, but only the data related to my list of countries by GDP per capita. So now I've chosen my lists, I connect, and then now Power BI is gonna do the job for you, because it's gonna detect all the tables and it's gonna show you what you can import in your Power BI desktop. So here I have a list of tables. Yes, you can see here. So I have different tables here. We're gonna focus on the one of the IMF. So this is this one. And here you can see that I can tick so if I wanted, I could have imported all the tables, but it doesn't make really sense. I'm just gonna focus on one. So IMF. So I'm gonna tick, and now I have these two buttons which are available to me. The first one is load, and the second one is edit. So if I load, it will go straight to my database, to my Power BI desktop, and then I will be able to visualize and analyze the data. But I'm gonna show you the edit part. So I click edit, and now I'm on the second window of Power BI, as you can see here, which is called the query editor. So now you're gonna be able to custom and set up your query. So for example, what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna change the name of this particular table, which I'm gonna call GDP. And here, for clarity purposes, I'm gonna rename this column GDP per capita here. So as you can see, there are all the data which were on the web page. So the GDP per capita per country. So now everything looks fine. I have my name, everything is clear. So I'm gonna go here to this button, which is close and apply. So it's gonna close the query. You don't need to save. So it's gonna close the query and then apply the changes I've just made here. And then it's gonna load this new database on my Power Query desktop. So close and apply. And now you're gonna see here in the fields, in the field section, you're gonna see the three columns I had in my database, which are the country, the GDP per capita, and the rank. And we're gonna start our visualization now. So I'm gonna select from the Home tab here a new visual, which is here. I can drag, I can resize. I'm gonna choose, yeah, this one is good. Country, GDP per capita. And I have it here. So as you can see, it's quite easy. I used a web page, and now I have it on my Power BI desktop in literally 5 minutes. What I can do is here, if I press this button, I have more options. I'm gonna sort this data in descending order. So as you can see, the top three is Qatar, Luxembourg, and Singapore. So quite interesting. I have my data per country, but now, yeah, there are many countries involved in the analysis, more than 190, I guess. So it's quite good. I have my data per country, but now what I would like to have is to have more a high-level review, sorry, of this data. And why not trying to analyze this GDP per capita per continent, for example? It would give me a better overview of this macroeconomic indicator. So that's where Excel comes in, because now I'm gonna use an Excel table as a data source. So if I go here, I'm gonna show you the Excel database. So here it's an Excel file, which is called countries database. I have all the countries in the world, in French, in English, and their respective continent. And I'm gonna use this this table here as a way to give a more high-level review on my analysis on Power BI desktop. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna go to Get Data again. This time I will go and choose Excel. And now, as you can see, Power BI desktop automatically displays a choice box where you can select your file. So it is here, countries database. I'm just gonna double click. So the same as the web page, it's gonna detect the tables which are available. So I have this one, which is called database. So I have my list. And as you can see here, this is quite interesting. The first columns Power BI Desktop didn't consider it as the first row, sorry, didn't consider it as a header. So it's a bit annoying because now I have column 1, column 2, column 3. So I'm gonna edit my query to make it a little bit more, to format it. So again, query editor, I'm gonna rename this countries, or I don't know, yeah, countries database. And here you can see you have other tabs, transform, add column, view. I'm gonna use the transform tab. And here I have a button, which is really straightforward to use. Use first row as headers, because this is really common in Excel. Your first row is the header, but in Power BI, for some reason, it's not the case. So you have to promote this row as a header. So you have a button for that. So now it's done. So French country, English country, continent. Everything looks fine. I have my database here. So again, home, close and apply. And now I'm going to have a second field now, which is called countries database, and my previous one, which was the GDP table. So now what would be interesting is to see the same data, but rather than per country, per continent. So I'm gonna choose continent, and now, as you can see, the data is the same for every continent. So it seems like there is a problem. The reason why it displays the same data for every continent is because you need to create a link between these two databases. Because now I have imported the two databases, but I still need to create a link so Power BI can understand the link between the continent and the GDP per capita. So just for format here, you can see that you have a button for your graph. So you can select the fields you want to drag and visualize. And here you have a second button which allows you to format your graphs. And I'm just going to display the data labels so you can see what's happening. So as you can see, this is totally wrong. I mean, this makes no sense. So now we need to create a link between these two databases. So as you can see here, there are 3 buttons. The first one is the visualization button. The third one, you can have a quick overview of the database you have on Power BI Desktop. So I have my countries database. I have my GDP database. Okay. And as you can see here, I have a common key. What I mean by key is a common column between the database, which is gonna actually allow you to make this link between countries database and GDP database. This common key is the English country, because in both databases I have the English country here, and here I have the country which is in English. So I'm gonna use this column to make the link between the tables, and that's quite interesting because how would you do that on Excel? You would have. Imagine that you have this two tables in an Excel file. You would probably use a VLOOKUP based on the country to make the link between the two databases, or even better, you would use an index match to do this to merge this database. But this is a bit risky because it's a manual function. It can be a source of error, and it's a bit annoying to type in things when you have good tools like this, which basically allows you to get rid of Excel functions. Because here, what you're gonna do is that you're gonna be able to create a link between the two databases without doing anything. So if you go to here, you have this button. So I go back to visualization. Here I have manage relationships, or I can access through here as well, relationships. So I have my two tables, GDP and countries. And now I'm gonna create the link. So if I go to manage relationship, okay. So I'm gonna create a new relationship between the countries and the GDP table. So I'm just gonna select by clicking English country, country. So Power BI Desktop automatically detects the type of the cardinality. It means the relationship between the tables. And it's gonna allow you to create a relationship. So I'm gonna do OK. And now I have my relationship between my tables. So I close. And now, as you can see here, you have this small thing which shows you the link between the two tables and what was the common key which was used. In this case, the English country. I'm going to show you another way for creating a relationship which is even easier and quicker. I'm just going to drag here country, English country, and you have your relationship between the tables. So now it's perfect because Power BI Desktop is able to make the link between my two databases. And if I go back to my visualization, now I can see that this graph, which has the continent as an axis and the GDP per capita as a value, is now able to make the link between the tables and display the relevant data. So what I'm going to do now is that rather than summing the GDP per capita, which makes no sense because Asia or Africa has much more countries than Oceania, for example, or North America. So why would I sum up this indicator? Maybe that would be more relevant to analyze it through an average. So I'm just going to select here. It's the same as pivot tables in Excel. I'm going to visualize my data on average. And what I can see now is North America is first, Europe is second, and so on. So again, I'm going to sort in descending order. So now I have my GDP per capita per continent. I'm just going to show you very quickly small tips on visualization. So here I have my graph. I'm going to choose other indicators here. So I'm going to choose a card, which I'm going to visualize here. And I'm going to visualize the number of countries involved in the analysis. So I'm just going to select country. And I can see that I have count of country. Country is a text column. Power BI Desktop automatically identifies that it's a text column, so it's going to count the number of reference within this column. And there are 189 countries involved in the analysis. And the good thing is that these two things are connected. Because, for example, if I click to North America, I can see that I have 2 countries involved in the analysis. Europe, 41, Asia, 47, and so on. So this is quite handy because in 2 seconds, you can use your graphs as filters, which is quite pleasant. I'm going to visualize another thing. I'm going to visualize the average GDP per capita in the world. So I'm just going to select, once again, a card here, and then GDP per capita, and I'm going to select the average here. So as I can see, I have 189 countries involved in the analysis, and the average of GDP per capita is 19,000. Everything is in dollars. Sorry, I forgot to mention. The initial data was in USD. So I have 19,000 US dollars on average GDP per capita. So what I can do now is to visualize this indicator, this one, on the graph. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to go to Format. And here, I don't know if you can see, maybe I'm going to have an item which is called reference line. I'm going to turn it on. Okay. I'm going to put it in red, the value of the average GDP per capita. I'm going to put it front. I'm going to display the label in the same color on the right side. Above, display units, thousands. Yeah, it seems okay. Maybe like this. So now I'm able to custom my graphs very, very easily without using any formulas or complicated things. What I can do now, just for analysis purposes, we'll get back to it in a second. I'm just gonna visualize this. Sorry, this. I'm gonna visualize it not on average, but median. And this is quite interesting because without doing anything, without even knowing the formula of median, I'm able to visualize the data. And I can see here that the average is superior to the median. So it means that there are actually there is, how to say, quite heterogeneous population in terms of GDP per capita in the countries involved in the analysis. So now what I'm going to show you now is the link between your database and Power BI Desktop. What I mean by link is that, as you saw earlier in the presentation, when I press this button, Get Data, I extracted data from Excel and web. But what I want to show you now is the link between these sources that we use first and Power BI Desktop. So if I go back to my Excel file, actually I have a second table where I have the countries and their respective subcontinents. So it's gonna allow me to have like a subsequent level of analysis between the countries and the continent, which is the subcontinent. So what I could do, and this would probably be the easiest and the quickest way, is that I could raise a third query on this particular Excel file. I would then choose this table, and then, as I did it earlier, I would create a link based on the English country to link this database to the other database which are in Power BI Desktop. But I'm not going to do this now because I want to show you the link between your previous queries and Power BI Desktop. So let's say that for some reason someone updates this database because someone in the company has access to the data and can enrich the database. So I'm going to do it manually here. I mean, not manually, but on Excel. So I'm going to add the subcontinent here. So I'm going to make a link between this table and the other table. So subcontinent, I'm going to use an index match formula. Nigeria, here, country. So now I have my subcontinent. I'm just going to drag the formula, copy and paste in value. So now I have a database which is a little bit more accurate and a little bit bigger. And now what is interesting is that I'm going to save this database, which is now bigger. I'm going to close it. And here, what we're going to do, so I'm just going to zoom the fields here. So we remember that we had done a query on the countries here. I'm just going to press this button, which is called refresh. So now Power BI is updating the link with your database. And as you must have noticed, now I have this new field, which is called subcontinent. So as you can see here, this is really interesting. This is the BI and modern BI. Your data are in the cloud, and once you're connected to your reports and to the database that I showed you here, you just have to update, and then the data is automatically connected, and you can have real-time analysis. And this is quite interesting because, for example, if you have I guess that in your companies you have, for example, Salesforce, which is available here. And Salesforce is updated, I guess, every day or maybe every hour by sales persons in your company in different offices, different locations. But as Power BI, with Power BI, you're able to connect to Salesforce reports, and then you're going to be able to, just by updating this button, your data will be automatically refreshed and will take into account what other people did in the Salesforce report. So this is quite interesting. And then, yeah, for example, I could visualize my data per subcontinent and see that all the countries which are above or below the average line. Last thing, which could be interesting, is as you can see here in the countries database, now I have different level of geography, because I have the country, the subcontinents, and the continents. What would be really interesting is that the possibility to drill down and to go deeper in the data. Because, for example, here I have my continent, okay? But now on this graph, I would like to have the possibility to visualize the data and to go deeper in what's going on in Europe, what's going on in Asia and stuff. So this, you have the possibility to drill down into your data on a Power BI desktop, but what you need to do is to create a hierarchy in your data. So a hierarchy, there are three types of hierarchies. You have geographic hierarchies, which I'm going to use here, because a country relies on the subcontinent, which relies on the continent. You have you could use time hierarchies in your models, because days relies on months, on years, and quarters and years. And you could also use operational hierarchies. For example, the brand, the category of the product, the subcategories of the product, and then you could create like this kind of hierarchies to go deeper in your analysis. What I'm going to use now is a geographic hierarchy. So this is really simple. So I'm going to just click right, new hierarchy. So I have my continent hierarchy here. And now I'm going to add sorry. Oh, okay, there is just... I'm going to add the subcontinent to the continent hierarchy. And I'm going to add the English country to the continent hierarchy. Okay. And now here, rather than using this field, I'm going to use the field that I have created just now, which is the continent hierarchy. And as you can see here, I have my hierarchy, which is country, subcontinent, and continent. And now I have these buttons. And I'm going to be able to drill down and to go deeper in the analysis, because I created this hierarchy. So you can go here and visualize it by subcontinents, per countries. You can also click on this button, and then you will be able to focus on a particular continent. So let's say Africa, and then yeah, so this is interesting because, for example, I noticed here that I don't have any subcontinents which is above the average of GDP per capita in Africa, but maybe I could have some countries which are above. So if I go to Western Africa, it's not the case. Northern Africa, not the case either. Oh, and now I have, yeah, Seychelles and Mauritius, which are part of, which are officially part of African continent, and yeah, they are above this GDP per capita, this average. So this is quite helpful, this hierarchy, because it allows you to visualize your data through different aspects and different levels of hierarchies. So this is quite handy. Yeah.
I find it very interesting. I work somewhere where I look at macroeconomic data a lot, and recently I just find this very interesting to drill down in.
Yeah.
On the very first slide, I saw that number one, sorry, on the Wikipedia page,
Yes, yes,
is Qatar.
yes.
Right. So it's Qatar, and it is above, 100 above the second one. The number two is very, very below, very above, more than 50%. And I don't see 132,000 in any of the sheets when you visualize. Please can you go back?
Yeah. Let me check.
And the reason for that
Yes.
is if you go.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, I think it falls on Africa, right?
Sorry.
If you could go back, it falls on Africa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it falls on Africa, and what I find interesting is that you have a country which has got 132,000 per capita. Yeah, falls in a category, and which then the average becomes 6K.
Yeah.
Which basically means there is massive dispersion or inequality in terms of income.
It's true, but just precision. I think that, and we can check it in
I'm
the.
not criticizing your work. My question is the following: is it possible that per bracket you could see the high and low? Is it possible to visualize that within in the same graph? That was just the question.
I think for the moment it's not possible. You could still visualize the data in ascending order. But just a comment about what you said about Qatar. I think that in this model, for some reason, Qatar is not considered as. This is considered as Western Asia.
Okay, no, but it's fine. The same with the points.
Yeah.
Because it's so high, and if you could go back to Asia.
In Power BI desktop.
You can see in Asia,
it's true.
It's 25. So
So
there are a number of countries. I think India and Bangladesh, those kind of countries where you have 600 million people living on $1 a day, bringing down the average very low. So it would be interesting to see.
Exactly.
So I was wondering if that's possible. So for example, this particular graph which you're showing here now, if that would be possible, that for Western Asia you could see a dot above, where Qatar would be, and a dot where maybe India would be,
It may be possible. I don't have the answer.
Okay,
I don't think it's possible for the moment. But that's a really interesting question because you anticipated my my demo.
Okay.
Because what would be interesting is to see the dispersion of the data within a given continent or a given subcontinent.
Because I'm trying to do this in my. I didn't know you were going to take this exam, but just 1 or 2 weeks ago there was this yearly report which said the top 50 people own more than 50% of the rest of the world. Something like that. You must have known. This kind of thing. So it's interesting to show these kind of things, but if it's not possible, it's not possible. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I don't have the answer. Maybe some people have it. I don't know if it's possible on Microsoft Power BI to do that. Probably not. But that's a good question. And what I can show you is that you have custom visuals in Power BI. There is a gallery of dashboards, of graphs, sorry, that you can import in your own Power BI desktop, and you're gonna be able to use these graphs exactly the same as the graphs that are here. And to answer your question, maybe that would be interesting to
submit a proposal to
either to submit a proposal or
do it yourself.
I'm gonna use a radar chart. I'm gonna download it. So this is in the Power BI website. So this is here. I'm gonna go here, and then I'm gonna press this button, import, and I'm gonna import the. I'm gonna import.
Download.
Yeah, but I have it here. Okay, so now it's here. So as you can see, this is very, very powerful because you have custom visuals that you can import into your Power BI reports, and you can use very easily and very, very quickly. And what could be interesting is to see, so I'm gonna reduce a little bit this one. So I'm gonna visualize per continent, or I could use this, but per continent, the GDP per capita. I'm gonna use this, GDP per capita, and okay, and I'm gonna take the average, or for some reason, I'm not gonna take the average. I'm gonna take the standard deviation, which is quite a good indicator to know how is allocated a given population around the average. And as I can see here, and as you said, so for example, Europe is quite rich in terms of GDP per capita. But if we get into the standard deviation, we can see that this is quite high. So this means that the European countries have quite a heterogeneous pattern in terms of GDP per capita. But yeah, Africa, for example, is quite poor. It's the last one in terms of GDP per capita, but the standard deviation is quite low. So it means that, yeah, there are not so many countries which would be above this average, and basically most of the countries are quite poor, as you can see here.
Because Qatar is in Asia.
Because Qatar is in Asia, and this is quite interesting because if you do not agree with this particular database, then you could simply change it here, yeah. And then we can do it if you want. We can put it in Africa, and then probably Eastern. Okay. So I updated this database. I'm just gonna refresh, and it should work. Okay, it didn't work. Oh no, yeah, that's. And I have to close it, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. So this is quite interesting because you might have some disagreements with your colleagues with this given database, but you can change it in 2 seconds and then it automatically updates. So are there any questions about this particular graph?
It's also nice to put it in a map if you want. That's my favorite.
Yeah, and you can do it. I'm not sure if it's gonna work now because maybe we're gonna use the. The map doesn't really. I mean, it depends on your database. You have another map that you can use, is this one. Yeah. But this is not really insightful, is it?
No, it's not.
You can zoom. But yeah, you don't. You would need to set up here your legend, your titles, background, size of the bubbles and stuff. But yeah, you can use these visuals and you can easily switch your videos, and it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. So just to summarize and to conclude about this quick or not quick maybe, but this demo. So we saw how to extract data from many different sources. In this case, it was Excel and web. Then we created some links very easily between databases. And then we created hierarchies to allow us to have different level of analysis. In this example, it was hierarchy based on the geographic criteria. So this tool is, I think, you must be amazed by the possibilities of this tool, because this is really easy. This is straightforward. In 5 minutes, you can visualize data from everywhere you want. What you were saying about the updates and the fact that you could submit your query is quite a good comment, because you could go here. He's not paying attention anymore, but you can submit your queries here, and for example, we can see that the top IDs are the analysis by date, time, the PowerPoint integration, so people can vote. And Microsoft is very user driven, because the main updates they're gonna provide are based on the users' comments. So this is quite interesting, and they provide monthly updates. So every month you have new features, new things which are available to you for free with the Power BI desktop. Also, if you want to improve and if you want to teach yourself how to use this tool, they have a YouTube channel, Microsoft Power BI. And there was a data conference which occurred in the US. I think it was end of March this year, so 3 or 4 weeks ago. And they uploaded all the conferences about Microsoft Power BI desktop. So you have a range of conferences which covers big data, dashboards, predictive modeling, anything that relates to Power BI. So you can watch the conference if you're interested. Just an overview of the BI market. So obviously Microsoft is not the only one to do that in the market, this data visualization. So here, I don't know if you can see this visualization, which the study was realized by Gartner, which I guess is an independent cabinet which provides market studies. So as you can see here, the leaders in the BI market. So there is Microsoft, but also Tableau, which is French, and ClickView, Click company, which is Swedish. And I know that here there are people using Tableau and ClickView, and that could be quite interesting to compare what would be the visualization you could provide based on the same data with these tools. I have no idea. I've never used them in real life, I would say, and that would be quite interesting to see with the same data, with the same resource, what you can deliver as an output. I think that's it for tonight. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This time happens, just
a
couple of sentences.
Yeah. So if you go here, so for example, we're gonna choose this graph. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this graph. So if you go to the format button here, so you have different things like x-axis, y-axis. So what you can do, you asked about the legend, right?
I mean, just if, for example, you want to put some short summary, word in nearby legend or whatever, just like how we perform. This is how we see our sales for next quarter, or this is our performance. This was rate.
Yeah.
This is what we achieved, 40% growth, and this is presented.
Very
short phrase.
You can do it. So I guess that if you go to
because for example in Tableau, now they have this kind of It's like a legend, right?
Yes.
It's called legend, yes.
Legend,
If I
yeah.
put some words near to look like presentation, which just some little bit with all these charts, nice, everything. But what they did, I think it was
The
last
story.
year, story kind of.
Yeah, you can do it. To be honest, I don't I don't know if I'm able to show it now,
Just
but I know it's possible. Probably using this kind of these visuals, and yeah, you can display text within your reports,
Yes.
and you can even make this text dynamic.
yes.
Because there is a language which is called DAX, Data Analytics Expression, and it allows you to enrich your queries or also to create KPI and measures based on your database, and you're gonna be able to make this data table, this text table dynamic with the DAX. I don't know if I'm able to show you now how to do it, but I know it's possible.
Text dynamics.
Data analytics expression, DAX.
Data. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you know if there is a way to create new graphs, for example? Because we see there are so many new available graphs that you can download on the internet. Is it possible to create your own? Like, it's possible, but I mean,
I
how do you
think
find-
it could be possible. There is only one way to have your own graphs, is to go through this button. So what you can do is that if you have an idea of a graph, you can submit it to the Microsoft, because what you need to do when you import the graph is that it has to be a PBIX document. So I have no idea how to create graphs on PBIX, but I guess that what you should do is to create this kind of graphs with this document format and then submit it to the gallery. Where is it? Here. And then I think there is a process like Microsoft reviews the graphs, checks the compatibility, and then maybe there is a vote or something like this, and then you will have your own graph, which will be available to anyone. But to answer your question, if you want your own graph, like your personal graph on your own report, I'm not sure it's possible.
Okay.
It's just that you have to make it in PBIX
Yeah,
and then you import it yourself.
yeah, But how-
Microsoft needs to do that.
yeah. I don't know how to create PBIX graphs, to be honest, but I'm not sure if it's totally open. I think Microsoft put a lot of effort on opening the source and the graphs, but I don't know if it's possible yet.
Okay, thank you. I see there is a how to submit. Maybe there is some help online.
Yeah, probably.
No need to.
Yeah, probably.
But, okay,
Probably.
It seems possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have really interesting graphs. For example, if you want to analyze the comments of your customers, you have this word cloud, and this really works. I tried it. So you have text. You want to analyze text. You just select this graph, and it's gonna focus on the main on the words with the most appearances. You can also use timeline, because here you can use, there is a graph which allows you to I don't know where it is, and yeah, this one, slicer. So maybe you know slicers on Excel. It allows you to filter across your data, but you can also use slicers in Power BI Desktop, which is a little bit less relevant, because as I showed you, you don't really need to have a proper filter, because you can use your graphs as a filter. For example, here, you can use the graphs as filters. But what would be interesting is, for example, to have a slicer timeline where you can visualize where is it? I think it's this one, advanced time slicer or timeline. And this is the same as Excel, and you can use a timeline slicer to visualize your data, for example, in a quarter, in 2 quarters, in just a given month or a given year. And this is quite user-friendly. Okay.
Okay, the last question, but I don't know if it's easy to answer or not. Maybe it's a bit early for Power BI. Is there a way to save like in HTML formats, you know, for websites? It's possible on Excel, Word, for example?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, no, I don't think.
Maybe it's a bit
What,
early.
what would you like to have to, would you like to have that graph to?
Yeah,
so
like
what
this
you,
kind of graph.
so what you do is you get, it's called publish. If you click on publish.
Yeah, publish here. Yeah.
Then you can
Yeah, but
publish it in the cloud.
Yeah, it's gonna go online. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you are in the cloud, you can say, "Can I have a link?" And that link you can paste in your website, and then it becomes. It's not really pretty, but it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, because with this button you can publish the reports online, and you can restrict the users which are gonna be able to visualize this particular report. You can also privatize parts of the report. So let's say that, for example, you have different pages. The top management would have access to all the pages, but maybe lower managers would only have access to the sales in their countries, or So you can create segmentations in the way you share and publish your reports online.
Okay, that's really nice.
Okay, so I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.